a show that tackles the big issues affecting the BVI and the rest of the Caribbean. Searches for answers to today's big questions and gives viewers a unique perspective on developing stories. Follow the big story with me, Kathy Richards, only on JTV. This show is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, Cyril B. Ramney Tertola Pier Park, NV Salon Spa Nail and Barbershop, the Wellness Center, Medical and Behavioral Health Clinics, Ticely Cross Deliciously Smooth Cider, HOV Medical, and Digicel. Sign up for Digicel Plus Home Light Bundles, faster internet, movies, and sports. This is The Big Story. I'm Kathy Richards. I want to thank you so much for joining us. And for today's edition, in studio with me is Mr. David Kirkaldy. He is the District Governor of District 7020 for Rotary. We want to welcome you first to The Big Story, but even bigger to the Virgin Islands.
I'm so happy to be here, and thanks for hosting me on the show today.
Also, well, for those persons who may not understand what a district governor's role is when it comes to dealing with Rotary, why is he traveling all around the place, visiting clubs? Give us a little background as to the district governor's portfolio.
Okay, so Rotary, I think everybody that's viewing would probably know that Rotary is a collection of Rotary clubs. Here in the British Virgin Islands, you have 4 Rotary clubs. But the way Rotary International is broken down, generally for management purposes, is broken down into districts. There are over 500 districts around the world, and our district is District 7020, and it comprises 10 countries or territories. It also, within those 10, has 14 islands, 93 clubs, and part of the responsibility of the district governor is to visit all of those clubs, or as many as is practical to do so. As an official visit to the country, to the clubs, and that's what I'm here in the British Virgin Islands right now for that, to visit with the clubs, to learn about the amazing work that they're doing here in the BVI community, and how we can help them do more, solve any issues or challenges that they may be having, and just generally have an opportunity to see the good work that Rotary has done in this community for decades now.
Awesome. Well, it's how many months now that you have been serving? It's just coming somewhere close to the middle of your year?
It's getting there. It feels like it's almost to the end, but it's actually not quite.
Oh, you got quite
not
a
quite
few
halfway.
months to go.
But the Rotary year runs from the 1st of July through to the 30th of June. So
Yeah.
we're coming up into the
So
almost
how many
half.
countries have you visited so far of the 14 that?
So the countries that we've visited so far had our official visits. I finished my own from the Cayman Islands, is where I'm resident of, and so we finished the clubs there. We've visited also the Turks and Caicos Islands and visited the clubs in that location. We have been to 19 of the clubs in Jamaica. Jamaica has the most clubs of our district. We go back in December to finish off the rest of those clubs. After leaving the British Virgin Islands, we head to St. Martin, San Martin, St. Bart's, and Anguilla, and then back to Jamaica, and then in January to Bahamas. And previously to coming here, we have also been to the U.S. Virgin Islands and visited with the clubs in St. Thomas, St. John, and St. Croix.
St. Croix, awesome. What unique opportunity you have when you, sitting as a district governor, is visiting and seeing the various cultures, the various things that these clubs do within their communities. What are some of the things that you find so very common among those that you would have visited so far?
Oh boy, that's quite a setup for a question. But what I will say is, as a overarching thought, we have one of the most interesting and one of the most amazing districts in the Rotary world. There are not many. In fact, the only other one that I know of that has more countries and territories as a part of its own district is the one immediately to the east of us, District 7030, which comprises the rest of the Caribbean and also goes down through to Guyana. But the magic about our district is there is so much variety of cultures, many of which are united through shared traditions and cultural heritage. But within every country, it has its own special thing. Of course, I will leave from here to go somewhere else, so I wouldn't want to call out any one particular thing. But you know, it's such an honor and a privilege. When I look at my chain of office, you know, as an organization, we sort of put the person who was there before onto a chain, and the chain of office for the district governor is now some 30 names that are on it since we've been a district. And it includes a couple of past district governors that hailed from the British Virgin Islands as well. But you look at that list of people, you look at those names, and you realize you're amongst a very small group of Rotarians, and actually a small group of people who have had the opportunity to spend quality time, not just an in and out visit, maybe on a cruise ship or just coming in as a tourist, quality time in a country to really understand a bit more about what makes it tick, what works in one place, maybe not so much in another place for various reasons. And it's a real honor and a privilege for me to have this role and to have the opportunity to travel, and to travel with my wife, Christina, who's been accompanying me on these trips as well, and as an invaluable right hand to my scatterbrained approach sometimes to things. But it's such an incredible opportunity to tour the various countries, and to, in this case, spend about a week here in the British Virgin Islands, and to learn more about your country.
Awesome. And from the get-go, you have been meeting not only with the clubs, but you have been meeting with the leadership of the territory.
Absolutely.
The premier, the governor, the district, the deputy governor, who's also a Rotarian himself. Correct. A member of the Rotary Club of Tortola, my club, the best club.
I've just come from a Tortola board meeting, Rotary Club of Tortola. Yeah, you know, and the way you progress ultimately to being nominated and ultimately being selected as district governor, one of the stepping stones is to be an assistant governor within within each territory, really to assist the governor in implementing policies and sort of be your eyes on the ground. As an assistant governor in the past, I've had the great pleasure to have past district governors such as Delma Maduro, when she visited the Cayman Islands, to take her to visit with and make a courtesy call on the political or the executive leadership of the Cayman Islands, where I hail from. And for me, it's an important opportunity as I travel to have that on the schedule. And here we met with His Excellency the Governor and also with the Honourable Premier to just share what Rotary is doing in the community to bridge that last mile where sometimes government services either haven't planned for a sudden need that has emerged, and also to thank them for the resources that they have made available during the course of the previous year to assist our Rotary clubs and all service clubs, Lions, Optimists, and other NGOs that operate here, to assist us to do the work that we do to help them in their mission. So it's a very important part of the role, is to bring greetings from our Rotary International president, and just to thank them for the help that they give our clubs, and to point out the valuable work that our Rotarians do in the territory during the course of the year. And
that is so evident, the synergy that we experience here in the Virgin Islands between the leaders and the club. It's very, very, very evident. And, you know, there's something you recognize the importance of service organizations, the impact that we make on communities and lives. And that is so admirable. You were just at the meet and greet, the cocktail reception that was put on there for us by our premier. Though he was not able to be there because of his commitment of being in the House of Assembly that day, there were some things that you spoke of and you alluded to that stuck with me, and I knew that it was going to form the bedrock of this conversation, is that message of paying attention to one's mental health. That's the one message that you insisted that, if nothing else, persons pay keen attention to.
Correct.
Why?
So every year a district governor is charged with coming up with a theme or a focus area that they want to raise the eye level of conversation on. I wondered what that would be for me. We've had some fantastic conversation pieces in the past, such as juvenile obesity, diabetes, the sorts of challenges that are very common in our Caribbean region. I struggled to figure out what my thing would be. And then unfortunately in the Cayman Islands, we had a couple of incidents of suicide, two of which were of folks that were known to me and my family. And in that moment, I knew that this was a topic I wanted to talk about, mental health and mental wellness. It turns out that this year, the Rotary International president also wanted that to be one of the focus areas that we spoke about, in addition to peace building and conflict resolution. For me, the opportunity to travel to these 93 clubs in all the countries, and I neglected to include Haiti as also one of our countries within our district, and to be able to go to them with a message that it is okay to put up your hand and say, I am not okay, or I need help with something, or I'm struggling here. I think very often in the Caribbean context, we keep that bottled up. We don't talk about it, and particularly men, even more so, just due to the way societal norms are, men sort of even more so have to keep or feel like there's a pressure to keep their feelings or their anxieties about a challenge closed up. And our international president, Gordon McAnally, he really charged us with going out into our districts and just making clear that it was okay to put up your hand and say, I have a problem here. And that is not a sign of weakness, that in doing so, it's about the bravest thing you can do, because the tough thing is having an anxiety, having a challenge, having a depressive moment or time period that you're going through, and suffering in silence and not talking to anybody about it. So I'm really honored that this year, this is the theme that I had chosen. It's now been amplified by Rotary International, and that I have the chance to go to clubs and to district meetings and to talk about it. And it's really well received, particularly I would say with the younger people. Our Rotaractors tend to be between sort of 18 and 30 years old. And really what you're seeing with the effects of the COVID lockdowns that all of our countries had is the arc of a student's education really changed. The arc of social interactions and what normally happened at particular times of the year, a lot of that got adjusted due to the lockdowns and the inability to travel even after the lockdowns were eased. And the effect of some of that is really just starting to come to the fore now. And particularly with the young people, you see them really pay attention when we're talking about this topic, because they know personally people that are really struggling. And it may not be that ultimate sort of headline act of committing an act as really a really dangerous act, but so many of them are struggling personally, and where everybody now lives online and is subject to judgment and bullying and harassment online, and it's a topic that really resonates with the younger Rotarians and young people. I'm finding as we go around the district.
Awesome. Not awesome as in awesome, but just knowing that we find time to pay keen attention to this, because yes, like in your country and the rest of the Caribbean, the COVID-19 just exacerbated that condition, and for so many people it still seems to be something taboo. We see that when we talk about mental illness in the past, we thought about people who run crazy or have to be on meds or have to be institutionalized, but we are coming to learn that that's not necessarily the case. It's just simply, I could be right here and be going through some sort of emotional trauma or anything and need someone to talk to.
Correct.
And the thing that one of the things that you would have said at that meeting is not just for persons to raise their hands to say that I need some help or I need someone to talk to. You would have encouraged Rotarians to check on your friends.
Check on your friends.
Check on your family. Check on your neighbor. Just to say, hi, how are you doing today? You might be surprised to know the conversation that starts from there.
And very often the first reaction is, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And to press, without prying too much, but just to make sure that they know it's okay to open up and to ask, how are you really? Really make that connection. How are you really doing? And very often people will open up about a challenge that they're having.
Awesome. You would have had reason to sit with the acting CEO of the BVI Health Services
Yes.
Authority, who is also a Rotarian, and she also heads that department here. What is the feel that you got from her?
Well, I think, first of all, very supportive of what we're doing. Obviously, being in that space herself, in her medical profession, she understands the need for the conversations and the challenges that are out there. But also in talking with her and talking with the folks from the Red Cross the other day, where we had a small meeting with a couple other NGOs and the Lions Club, the biggest challenge I think that we find as I travel and I look for some research into statistics about the incidence of various issues around mental health is the lack of statistics or the lack of timely statistics. We're very fortunate in the Cayman Islands to have an organization, an NPO. It's called the Alex Panton Foundation, and it's named after the son of our current premier, Wayne Panton. So his son Alex took his life by suicide over a decade ago now, and the family used this terrible tragedy to say, well, let us find ways to do something about it. And the first step in figuring out how to do the thing is to understand the incidence and the prevalence of the issue you're dealing with. So we are extremely fortunate in the Cayman Islands to have very current and very good and in-depth research on the causes, the various issues that are causing young people, primarily the focus with them is on young people, to end up feeling thoughts of depression, thoughts of suicidal ideations, incidents of cutting and self-harm, incidents of bullying that could ultimately lead to more serious consequences. And so we've got a great bank of research there now that we can compare year to year. I find that as I travel, that level of research and that level of understanding as to what exactly is happening in that core demographic that is facing such a challenge is lacking, unfortunately. So I think
you can become a model.
Well, building the data on what is the thinking and what is happening in the younger community, or just the community in general, is really important as a first step to understanding, okay, as a community, what do we want to do that? But for me, I'm not in that space. My business has nothing whatsoever to do with anything medical. I went to that same Alex Panton Foundation and I asked for someone from that group to come and talk to me and tell me the things that I didn't know, talk to me about the right way to talk about something, and just as importantly, the wrong way to talk about something, because I had no prior experience in it. I think that's a great first step. Just having conversations, asking people to come into your club, into your corporate setting, to talk to your people about how to identify signs of possible mental challenges. And we sort of go straight to the mental illness. And it's sort of like a cut can be a paper cut to something extremely serious. Mental illness is very much in the same way. It can range the gamut, and you never quite know that one thing that's going to happen that sort of is the straw that breaks the back. And what we want to work on is making sure people have conversations and activities are happening in the community to raise awareness as to what the resources are if you are starting to feel that darkness coming down on you or those challenges.
Awesome. I'm hoping that as you go around these countries, these islands, and you talk about this and you share the experience and the knowledge of your country, some of us can try to get a blueprint, try to see how we can use the model that you have there to gather the statistics, because that's so important in this year. I hope that we can, tap into that and learn and see how best we can better our situations.
Absolutely, and I know everywhere I've traveled, organizations that do work in this type of area are very open to what I call ethical stealing. They are very happy to creative sharing of their ideas, because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to make the day just a little bit better for somebody else, and whether that's in the Cayman Islands or if it's in Jamaica or if it's here in the British Virgin Islands, that's our mission. That's what we're trying to do.
Awesome, and that tells you the importance of having a Rotary. While it may not be a model in the Rotary of itself, you are from a country that has a model that you can go around the world and share, and we all learn from it. One other thing that you mentioned that stands out about Rotary is its ability to collaborate
Correct.
with other organizations and entities. You would have had a meeting with the Lions Club of Tortola. You would have met with the I think it's the BVI Alzheimer's Association.
Correct.
And Red Cross. How important it is for us to keep working together as a unit.
I think it's extremely important. One of the very first meetings that the incoming president of the Rotary has every year is a meeting with the Lions International president, the Kiwanis International president, I believe Toastmasters, and possibly the Optimists, but basically the heads of these large global service organizations come together every year, and it's a very important meeting on their calendar. And it sends a very high-level message that we are not in competition with each other. We are all people that have a heart for service, that we want to improve our community, and we feel that it's easier to do that as part of a group than it is to try and figure out what can I do on Saturday to do something. It's always so much easier to do it as part of a group, and of course you then get the fellowship and the camaraderie aspect of being part of an organization. For us, when we travel, it is fantastic to have organized for us an opportunity to meet with local clubs that are in other spaces. So the Lions Club does very important work when it comes to vision. Everyone globally knows about that. Alzheimer's and dementia, quite honestly, it seems to be on a very unfortunate rise in the Caribbean region. We personally in our family have challenges in that space, and so it was great to meet with them. And of course the Red Cross, while not typically seen as a service organization, they are there preparing people and preparing countries for when the disaster strikes.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately the British Virgin Islands have been the recipient of a number of unfortunate challenges in that respect. And so it was fantastic to have that opportunity to meet all of these various stakeholders who serve the community and serve the world.
Awesome. I think this was one of the best conversations in a little while for me, knowing that, there are service organizations around the world like Rotary doing this, impacting lives in so many ways. And I'm so happy to know that more and more attention is being placed on that taboo subject of mental wellness. Thank you so much for all that you are doing. Thank you. How is the hospitality here?
The hospitality has been absolutely stellar. I will say that I am probably going to have to hit the gym twice a day when I get back home. And I'm also a little disappointed because when I was given the invitation to be on this program, I actually thought it was a radio show, which I was only too willing to come on, and I wasn't until much more recently that I found out it was going to be on video. And my mom used to always say that I have a great face for radio. I'm not sure if it's going to come across properly on the video, but it's I would have, and I will tell it.
Mom was just telling you that you're just amazing the way you are.
I didn't, and I'm a little disappointed I did not have a makeup person to do something with this. But
well, I guess Christina is going to get you for that one. She is going to get you because I know that she made sure that you were tipper-tapper as you were about to leave home.
All seriousness, I really appreciate the opportunity to speak and to have folks listen to this broadcast and see this broadcast here in the British Virgin Islands and possibly beyond, because the topics that we're talking about is so important. This year is not my year as district governor. This year is a year that I have the good fortune to help to bolster the great work that the Rotarians are doing here and throughout our 10 countries. And appearing on a show like this is just a wonderful way to propagate that message just a little further. And I thank you so much for having me.
We're honored to have you. We make it our duties to catch the district governors when they come. And it's so wonderful to know that every time we have a district governor here, the focus is a different one.
Yeah.
This year, mental wellness. Thank you so much.
My
Make
pleasure.
sure you get some fungi and fish. Make sure you dip in the ocean more than once and enjoy Virgin Islands.
Thank you so much.
It's a great place.
Thank you.
I want to thank you so much, and thank you for joining us for this edition of The Big Story. I'm Kathy Richards.
We know that where you choose to bank matters, and it is your vote on what your funds do in strengthening our community. As your official Bank of Paradise, we invest and support the lifeblood of our economy by helping in the realization of personal goals for homeownership, education, and entrepreneurial visions, which support small businesses. We make it our place to connect with persons and worthy causes, and we have been doing so for more than 30 years. Where your money goes and what your dollars empower are your choice. And we thank you for choosing us, a bank that gives where it matters the most, for you, for our community, and a happier tomorrow. The National Bank of the Virgin Islands.
Everyone looks to the future, but no one truly knows what the future holds.
The number of people under the age of 20 with type 2 diabetes could increase by 49% by 2050. Let it be known that we all have a 30% chance of developing hypertension.
Globally, more than 300 million people of all ages suffer from depression.
More than 60,000 young adults aged 20 to 39 are diagnosed with cancer each year.
Obesity leads to problems such as stroke, heart disease, and kidney failure.
No matter your race, age, or color, we are all at risk.
These diseases can be managed or prevented if caught early.
But with the right medicine and the right doctors to keep us on a path to live a robust and healthy life,
we will live well.
Plug into Digicel Plus and get even more entertainment with Disney Plus included. The best of Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and National Geographic all in one place. Whenever you want, plug into Plus to enjoy Disney Plus and much more with a home fiber bundle. Sign up today. Digicel Plus.